Let's solve this problem. On the left hand side we have 5 to the power of 4311. On the right hand side we have 4 to the power of 5311. Which is larger? First things first, let's copy the problem over. So we have 5 to the power of 4311 versus 4 to the power of 5311. Put a line down the middle and we will evaluate each number in turn. So let's start with the left hand side. So we can express the left hand side as 5 to the power of 4,000 plus 311. Now remember, there is a rule in algebra whereby you have a to the power of m plus n equals a to the power of n times a to the power of n. So we can use this. We can say 5 to the power of 4,000 times 5 to the power of 311. That's the same as that. Okay, now we can further simplify it. We can say 5 to the power of 4 times 1,000 times 5 to the power of 311. Now here's another rule. We can say a to the power of mn is the same as a to the power of m and then to the power of n. So re-expressing this, we have 5 to the power of 4 to the power of 1,000 times 5 to the power of 311. Remember this identity. Okay, so 5 to the power of 4 we can work out quite easily. 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, which is 625. So we have 625 now in this bracket. So 625 to the power of 1,000 times 5 to the power of 311. Good. We'll stop here and then we will apply the same evaluation principles on the right hand side. So we can re-express this as 4 to the power of, open bracket, 5,000 plus 311. Using the same principle, the same rule as we applied here, we can re-express this as 4 to the power of 5,000 times 4 to the power of 311. We can then go on to further break this number down by saying it's 4 to the power of 5 times 1,000 to the power and times 4 to the power of 311. We can then use this same rule here and re-express this as 4 to the power of 5 to the power of 1,000 times 4 to the power of 311. So 4 to the power of 5 is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. This is a very simple multiplication compared to this number, which is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 is 1024. So the number in this bracket is 1024. So we can re-express this now as 1024 to the power of 1,000 times 4 to the power of 311. Good, so now we can start comparing these two numbers. Yeah, we have We have 625 times 5, 625 to the power of 100 times 5 to the power of 311. And we have 1024 to the power of 1000 times 4 to the power of 311. So now we can start comparing. Let's look at the first term respectively on each side of the problem. We've got the same power, so it's a different base, but it's the same power. So we can compare, because it's a lot easier to compare bases than powers. So we have 1024 to the power of 1000, and we have 625 to the power of 1000. Now, because the powers are the same, 1000, 1000, we can simply compare the bases. 1024 is greater than 625, so that's great. We can conclude 1024 to the power of 1000 is greater than 625 to the power of 1000. Now, if we move on to the second term in the respective problem on each side, we have 4 to the power of 311, and we have 5 to the power of 311. So it's good that we've got the same powers, but the bases are different. Yeah, 4 is less than 5. So we can't, even though the first number 1024 is bigger than 625, we can't comprehensively say that the entire number on the right hand side is larger than the entire number on the left hand side, because we have 4 to the power of 311, which is less than 5 to the power of 311. So we need to try and re-express this number. We need to try and make this number 4. We need to try and increase it, even if we have to borrow from 1024. And the way we would do that is to break down 1024 to the power of 1000, break it down in terms of the factor 311. So let me explain what I mean by that. Let's start with the left hand side. We can re-express this as 625 to the power of 689 plus 311 times 5 to the power of 311. Yeah, 689 plus 311 is still 1000. We can then re-express this as 625 to the power of 689 times 625 to the power of 311 times 5 to the power of 311. We can re-express this as 625 times 689, and then if we do a multiplication in our head, 5 times 625, we get 3125 to the power of 311. We then apply the same principle here. We need to break down this power in terms of 311. So we do 1024 to the power of 689 plus 311 times 4 to the power of 311. We can now re-express this as 1024 to the power of 689 times 1024 to the power of 311 times 4 to the power of 311. Now we can further re-express this as 1024 to the power of 689, and we can just do 4 times 1024 in our heads. That's 4096 to the power of 311. So now we're in a place where we can directly compare this number and this number. We've got 1024 to the power of 689 versus 625 to the power of 689. So we have the same power and the base is larger. So this is definitely still larger. And then Comparing the second term on each side, we have the same power, which is good, 311, and we can see that the base is larger as well. 496 is definitely greater than 3125, so the base is larger as well. So now, going back to the original equation, we can definitely say 4 to the power of 5311 is greater than 5 to the power of 4311.